Every January 1st, the same thing happens. Ernie, what is that?
A train wreck, a nightmare, a travesty mockery of pain.
And the worst part is everybody is used to it, and our industry just kind of accepts it as a reality that doesn't have to be.
Uh,
My name is Jim Hayes, and I've spent my career working at a TPA and then working for a large CDH platform. And I've lived through more Januaries than I want to admit, and they've all been pretty chaotic. But this year is different.
Jim, I agree. I think it is going to be different. My name's Ernie Harris, and I too have worked for a couple different platform providers and TPAs, and now conveniently work at the same platform that Jim does. And Jim, this year, a little bit different for us. What do you think is the primary cause of that?
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be at Elevate, and it's been a very different January. Um, but just like some context, most benefits, I think, Ernie, we say like somewhere 75% of 80% of benefits are renewing on January 1. So employees have picked new plans, or they're staying with the same plan. They get new money into their accounts in January. And so this leads to a whole bunch of issues where accounts aren't funded right, people haven't gotten cards, their cards aren't working, they're enrolled in the wrong plan. It just creates a lot of chaos that then kind of rolls downhill all the way to customer service teams. What did I miss?
Well, I always like to apply this cute little acronym that I made up. It's called the irresistible force, right? It's really about funding events, onboarding events, renewals. What else is in there? Cards, you mentioned cards, and processing new elections, right? So that irresistible force, as you said, all, compiles and compounds on the January 1 window. So it creates this busy season that TPAs just accept. They staff up for it with temporary staff. They make process changes to deal with technology issues that are underlying. They change their processes, and every year it just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And again, we all just accept that. But I have to say, I don't think we have to accept it because there are other options. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I guess first I'll ask you another question. Like why do you think we've all accepted it? Like we've both been at places where it's just accepted that it's going to be chaos. Like what are some of the reasons you've seen for why?
Well, it's a couple different reasons, right? As an industry, right, taking a step back, as an industry, we used to do this on paper, and then we incrementalized our way to more and more and more and more paper, and then this cool thing called the internet came along, and we got computers, right? And then we got rid of the paper to a degree and we used computers. And then we used websites and then we used mobile apps. But we're in the tail end of that second transitional and transformative period. And it's kind of like that story about the frog in the pot of boiling water. You can just turn the temperature up a little bit every time, and that frog's never going to jump out. We're the frogs in the pot of boiling water. We don't know any different. We don't know what's happening because the change just happens incrementally over years. And now it's been 2 decades since the last major platform release came out, to transform our industry. And now we have another one. We're at the dawn of another transformational point.
Yeah, we are. And Ernie, you started with, going back to paper. I thought you were going to go with papyrus. Like that was probably like earlier in your career, but we can talk about that. That will be a later conversation. Like all this, what's crazy to me is you then get into this time where then admins are just like, partners, TPAs are just reactive because you have
Mhm.
to. It's all hands on deck. Everybody's working a ton of overtime in January, and it's just crazy. And then you have this place where then if you don't make any changes to the platform or your process, the next year is going to be the exact same way. It might
Yep.
be different problems, but it's going to be the exact same thing. And it's not a very fun place to live. Like I know for me personally, there were years where in January, I was like, am I going to get to see my family again? Because I'm spending all of my free time just troubleshooting issues.
Yeah,
So
and this year, I mean, I don't know about you. New Year's Day, I didn't get an email. Christmas Day, didn't get an email. Got some tickets, right? Normal, run, maintain kind of things. But I had the most relaxing 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's that I've had in 15 years.
yeah, agreed. Like you kind of nervously check your phone on, January 1st, January 2nd, like, okay, what's going to blow up? And we really didn't experience that this year. And yeah, just like we're not perfect. There were things, but it was all solvable within normal business hours and, partnering together with people, which is just such a different experience than what I've had before. And one of the things that was interesting talking with one of our partners is they said it just feels like a normal January, like it's busy, but it's not crazy, which I love to hear. And I think part of that is because, like another one of our partners, over the last year, they've grown 50%, but their tickets per customer are actually down, or their touch points per customer are down 60% compared to the year before with another provider. And all those things combine to like why January is busy, but not crazy, because if you have a really good platform, it helps reduce some of the craziness that we see in January.
Yeah, and what does good look like, right? I think everybody would argue, right? I'm in sales. I would argue that my platform is industry leading. Like we all say that, right? But
Yeah.
I think there are some empirical values that you can look for that kind of describe what a differentiating operation looks like. One of them that comes right to the top of mind is real-time operation. When you get a ticket in, and that stat is amazing. We looked into that a little bit, and part of it is there's not the follow-on ticket syndrome, right? So if you're working in a batch environment, right, and then I call you and I say, Jim, it's broken, and you go into the system, if you can do it without sending a ticket to technology to do some sort of code fix, right? It's not immediate. It runs in a batch, sometimes in a day, sometimes in more than one day. And meanwhile, we're in an instant gratification society. So now I get another call less than 24 hours later. I thought you said you fixed that for me. And you're like, I did. Oh, it's pending, but there's no transparency, which is the other one. Cards is a great one. I mean, we did something with cards. I'm not that familiar with it, but Jim, maybe you could share about card transparency.
Yeah, I mean, cards are always an issue, starting with did you get them loaded early enough so they can arrive by December 30th so people have them to start buying things they need in January? But then you just get people who like, it's like, I'll send my 10-year-old son to the mailbox, he gets mail, but then maybe I don't get my card. And then I'm calling in to say I don't have my card and I need to order a new one, or my card's not working. So, yeah, one of the things we implemented is we have this card tracker, which participants and our partners can see when was a card ordered, when was it shipped, when is it expected to arrive, and then actually get a confirmation that it did arrive. So it just gives the participant the ability to hopefully not have to call you at all because they can see exactly where in the process their card is. And that's just like a small example of if you cut down on touch points related to card deliverability and card issues, it just makes it really easy for your team to focus on the higher value things that are going to come up, maybe people or process errors. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff, and I just think it's so important that your platform is creating as few issues as possible and actually helping you to focus on, okay, how do we improve the process next year? How do we make sure our teams are trained to do things the right way and not create a problem?
Yeah, silence is golden. I think
It
is
is.
the moral of the story there. So it sounds like there are options, right? We're not stuck in a foregone conclusion, right? We could do something about it. And for my money, I think you look at your people and you look at your staff and you look at your process, and a lot of people will just default to it didn't go well because Bill didn't do a good job, or Jim didn't do a good job, or Ernie didn't do a good job. And in my experience, right? I mean, I've been doing this 20 years now. It's not about necessarily the people. It's more about how you set up your business to run and the underlying infrastructure that you use. So, my buzzword is, check your tech, right? Go in, figure out, do your postmortem. Don't do it September 1st, do it March 1st for next Jan 1, right? And then evaluate what could you do about that? Because there are real solutions available out there.
Yeah, agreed. And this has been fun, Ernie. Hopefully, if we get at least a couple of viewers beyond your mom and my mom, we can, maybe film another one of these. But yeah, if January is a problem for you, definitely something upstream is broken. And if your platform's contributing to it, you need to look at that.
I completely agree. And in the immortal words of Smokey the Bear, only you can prevent Jan 1 fires. Thanks,
Love it.
Jim.
Thanks, Ernie.